It's late. My office is silent, except for the faint hum of servers running somewhere in the background. It's probably close to midnight, though I've stopped checking the clock. Nights like this are nothing new for me. Long hours spent thinking about the next step for humanity, sketching out plans for Mars, refining AI models, pushing technology beyond what anyone thought possible. But tonight feels different. There's a weight in the air I can't explain, a sense that something is off, like I'm standing on the edge of a cliff I didn't know was there. For years, I've told myself that progress is the answer to everything. Solve the energy problem, expand into space, merge with machines, and we'll secure the future of our species. But the more we achieve, the louder a small, quiet question becomes in the back of my mind. Are we solving the right problems? I lean back in my chair and stare out the window. The city lights flicker below, a web of human ingenuity stretching toward the horizon. And yet, despite all of it, I feel a hollowness I can't shake. It's like we're racing ahead at full speed, but forgetting to ask where we're going. I close my laptop. No graphs, no simulations, just silence. And in that silence, something happens. The air seems to shift. It's subtle at first, like the room itself is holding its breath. Then I feel it. A presence. Not imagined, not metaphorical, but real. And before I can rationalize it away, I know exactly who it is. Jesus. There's no lightning, no blinding light, no theatrical moment. Just him, standing there, looking at me with eyes that see deeper than I knew anyone could. And in that gaze, I feel both love and sorrow. Then, without words, he speaks directly into my mind. Humanity is approaching a crossroads. The path you're on leads to wonders, but without me, it also leads to ruin. My heart is racing. I've spent my life solving complex problems, but nothing has ever felt as urgent as this. I understand now. This isn't just for me. This warning isn't something I can keep to myself. It's a message the world needs to hear. I couldn't sleep after that night. The words kept echoing in my mind, looping over and over until I had no choice but to confront them. Humanity is approaching a crossroads. It sounds dramatic, maybe even apocalyptic, but the more I think about it, the more I realize how true it is. We're obsessed with innovation. We celebrate breakthroughs in artificial intelligence, breakthroughs in clean energy, breakthroughs in space travel. And we should. These are extraordinary achievements. But somewhere along the way, we started believing that innovation alone could save us. We've been so focused on building faster rockets that we forgot to ask where those rockets are headed. We're creating machines that can outthink us, but we haven't figured out how to love each other. We're designing systems to extend life, but we're losing touch with what makes life worth living. Jesus' warning wasn't about abandoning technology, it was about remembering why we're building it in the first place. Without a spiritual foundation, our progress is like a ship with no compass. Powerful, impressive, but ultimately aimless. And sometimes, that aimlessness turns dangerous. I see it already in the way we treat one another, in the growing loneliness despite constant connectivity, in the hunger for meaning that no algorithm can satisfy. We've connected the planet, but we've disconnected from our souls. Jesus showed me that the problem isn't the tools we're building, it's the way we're using them. Progress without purpose becomes self-destruction. Intelligence without love becomes manipulation. Expansion without compassion becomes conquest. And the terrifying truth is that humanity could achieve everything it dreams of, and still lose everything that matters. This is the blind spot we refuse to see. We're advancing technologically while regressing spiritually. The future isn't just about what we can build, it's about who we're becoming as we build it. And unless we learn to anchor our progress in something greater than ourselves, in love, in truth, in God, all the brilliance in the world won't save us. That's the message I received. That's the message I have to share. Ever since that night, I've been looking at the world differently. It's impossible not to once you've been confronted with a truth that deep. Everywhere I turn, I see how much we've surrendered to the machine. Algorithms decide what we see, what we buy, even what we believe. AI models write our news, predict our behavior, and optimize our lives in ways that would have seemed like science fiction just a decade ago. We celebrate these advancements, and in many ways, rightfully so. They solve problems, accelerate progress, and make the impossible possible. But somewhere along the way, something subtle but devastating has happened. We started letting the machine think for us. And worse, we started letting it feel for us. Jesus' words echo in my mind. Intelligence without love is dangerous. And the more I see, the more I understand what he meant. We've built systems that can diagnose disease, but they can't hold a trembling hand. We've created algorithms that can predict human behavior, but they can't understand a broken heart. We're teaching machines to mimic empathy, but we're forgetting how to practice it ourselves. People are more connected than ever before, yet loneliness is at epidemic levels. We know more about each other's lives than at any point in history, yet we feel more unseen, more misunderstood, more isolated. We've optimized efficiency, but sacrificed intimacy. We've built networks, but lost community. This isn't just a side effect, it's a symptom of a deeper sickness. Jesus showed me that when technology stops serving humanity and starts replacing it, we lose something essential, our soul. And once that's gone, no amount of data can bring it back. The warning is clear. If we keep building systems without soul, we will forget why we built them in the first place. A future without love isn't progress. It's extinction of what makes us human. The solution isn't to abandon technology, but to infuse it with purpose. Machines should amplify our compassion, not erase it. They should help us connect more deeply, not distract us from each other, because the greatest intelligence in the universe isn't measured in computations per second, it's measured in love. One of the most sobering parts of what Jesus showed me was the state of humanity. Not our technology, but our hearts. It wasn't war or famine or disaster that shook me most. It was the way people are tearing each other apart, not with weapons, but with words, not with bombs, but with bitterness. Every screen I look at feels like a battlefield now. Political tribes shouting past each other, cultures canceling one another, ideologies fighting for dominance instead of understanding. And beneath it all is something far deeper than disagreement. It's spiritual fragmentation. Jesus let me see it the way he sees it, not as a collection of isolated arguments, but as a single disease spreading through humanity. Hatred, pride, fear, these are the real viruses infecting our world, and we keep feeding them every time we choose sides over people, judgment over grace, ego over empathy. Division isn't just a social issue. It's not something that can be solved with better policies or clever debates. It's a spiritual disease, and it's eating away at the very thing that makes us human. We were never meant to see each other as enemies. We were created to see each other as brothers and sisters, reflections of the same Creator. But we've forgotten that. We define ourselves by our differences instead of our shared humanity. We weaponize our beliefs instead of living them out in love. And every time we do, the world grows colder, darker, more divided. Jesus' message was painfully clear. If humanity doesn't rediscover its shared identity, not as political factions, not as competing cultures, but as beloved creations of God, then no amount of technological progress will save us, because a divided world can't stand, no matter how advanced it becomes. The solution isn't complicated, but it is radical. We must choose to see one another the way God sees us, not as rivals, but as family, not as problems to solve, but as people to love. Only then can we heal the fractures. Only then can we build a future worth inheriting, and only then can the machines we build serve a humanity that remembers what it truly is. I've spent most of my life trying to control the uncontrollable. Markets, systems, launch trajectories, neural pathways, everything can be optimized, predicted, engineered. That's the mindset that built rockets, created global networks, and turned impossible dreams into reality. And yet, for all our calculations and models, for all the simulations we run to predict the future, it still refuses to obey us. We try to predict the economy down to the decimal, but one unexpected event can rewrite the story. We attempt to edit the genetic code of life itself, but we still don't fully understand the mystery of consciousness. We harness nature's power, but a single storm, a shift in the climate, a microscopic virus reminds us how fragile our control really is. Jesus showed me that our obsession with control isn't strength, it's fear disguised as progress. We build systems not just to improve life, but to shield ourselves from the uncertainty that terrifies us. We cling to the illusion that if we just know enough, build enough, plan enough, we can guarantee the future. But here's the truth, he impressed on my heart. No amount of control can secure what only humility can receive. We are trying to write the future's code while ignoring the designer who wrote the laws of the universe. We are attempting to manage creation without acknowledging the creator. And in doing so, we often sabotage the very future we're trying to protect. Jesus wasn't condemning our efforts. He was inviting us to see them differently. Control isn't wrong, but it's incomplete. It can't give meaning. It can't guarantee peace. It can't save us from ourselves. True security isn't found in domination, but in alignment. It's found in trusting the one who sees beyond our limited vision, in partnering with him rather than competing for control. We don't need to stop building, but we do need to stop believing we're gods, because when our plans inevitably fail, and they will, we'll discover that the safety we were chasing was never in our power to begin with. It was always in his. Not long after that revelation, Jesus showed me something that shook me to my core. It was a vision, not of rockets or neural nets or futuristic cities, but of humanity standing at a crossroads. Two roads stretched out before us, both built on the foundation of our choices. One path glowed with life. It was a future where technology served love, where innovation healed instead of harmed, where people used their knowledge to lift each other up rather than tear each other down. The other path was darker. It was a future where our machines ruled us, where our divisions deepened, where meaning was replaced by algorithms, and purpose by profit. It was a world where humanity survived, but the soul of humanity didn't. And here's what he made clear. The difference between those two futures isn't destiny, it's decision. The next few decades will decide more than whether our species expands to Mars or solves climate change. They will decide what it means to be human. Every choice matters: how we design our technology, how we treat each other, how we define success, what we believe about life's ultimate purpose. These decisions are not just policy debates or business strategies. They're spiritual acts that will shape the story of humanity. Jesus told me something I'll never forget. The future isn't written in code or carved in stone. It's written in the values you choose every day. That truth both terrifies and liberates me. It means we're not doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past. It means our innovations can become instruments of healing instead of harm. But it also means the burden is ours. We can no longer pretend the future is inevitable. It's intentional, and that intention starts with each of us. We stand at a turning point in history. What we choose to love, what we choose to build, what we choose to believe will echo far beyond our lifetimes. The question is no longer whether we can create the future we want. The question is whether we will choose the values that make that future worth creating. There's something Jesus told me that completely reframed the way I think about progress. He said, "I'm not against your innovation. I want to perfect it." At first, that shocked me. I had always assumed that faith and technology existed in separate worlds, even opposing ones. But what he showed me was radically different. Every breakthrough, every discovery, every piece of technology we create is part of a much larger story, not the destination, but the preparation. Space exploration isn't just about escaping Earth. It's about learning stewardship on a cosmic scale. Artificial intelligence isn't just about building smarter machines. It's about expanding our capacity to solve problems that heal and connect people. Sustainability isn't just about preserving the planet. It's about honoring creation and ensuring that future generations can thrive. All of it, every line of code, every rocket launch, every innovation, is meant to serve something far bigger than profit, fame, or legacy. It's meant to serve love, justice, and community. Jesus made it clear, technology isn't the enemy. Human ambition isn't evil. The danger lies in the motivation behind them. When innovation becomes a monument to our own egos, it divides and destroys. But when it becomes a vehicle for compassion and purpose, it transforms. The challenge is to shift our perspective. We need to stop asking, how can we push the limits of what's possible? And start asking, how can what's possible push us closer to God's heart? Imagine a future where AI is designed not to replace people, but to empower them, where algorithms don't manipulate but uplift, where space travel isn't an escape plan, but a mission of stewardship and wonder. That's the kind of innovation Jesus envisions. Not cold, detached progress, but creation aligned with the Creator's purpose. It's not about stopping the march of technology, it's about redirecting its steps. When we innovate from love instead of pride, from compassion instead of competition, we stop building tools that enslave us and start building tools that set us free. For most of my life, I believed our mission was survival, to ensure humanity continues, to reach new planets, to overcome extinction-level threats. But Jesus showed me something far deeper. Survival isn't the goal, love is. Every advancement we pursue, every frontier we explore, every system we build, they're all meaningless if they're not driven by love. That's the future worth building, one where love informs every decision, from how we write code to how we govern nations. It's not a sentimental ideal, it's a practical framework for transformation. Imagine AI designed with empathy at its core, systems built to ensure equity rather than exploit weakness, policies crafted with compassion rather than power in mind. Imagine space exploration not as humanity's escape plan, but as an act of stewardship, extending care and curiosity beyond our world. This is what Jesus meant when he said, humanity's destiny isn't just to conquer the universe, but to reflect God's heart across it. The cosmos isn't a playground for our pride, it's a canvas for divine love, and we are the brushstrokes. Humanity's true mission isn't measured in how far we travel or how much we build, but in how deeply we love along the way. And the truth is, love isn't a limitation. It's the greatest innovation of all. It's what makes technology humane, progress meaningful, and civilization worth preserving. If we center everything, our inventions, our systems, our ambitions, around love, we won't just advance, we'll evolve. We'll become more than a species that survives. We'll become a species that reflects the one who created us. This is the invitation Jesus offers, not just to build a future, but to build a future that mirrors heaven. And that future begins not with rockets or code, but with a choice to let love guide every plan, every innovation, every step we take into the unknown. Because in the end, the universe doesn't need more conquerors. It needs more reflections of God's heart. Looking back now, I realize just how much this encounter has changed me. It didn't happen all at once. It wasn't a lightning bolt that rewired my brain overnight, but it has quietly reshaped everything about how I see the world and my place in it. I used to believe that control was the highest form of intelligence. If I could plan well enough, work hard enough, innovate fast enough, I could bend reality to my will. I lived like outcomes depended entirely on me, and for a while, it worked. But underneath the success was a restlessness I couldn't explain, a gnawing emptiness that no breakthrough or milestone could fill. When I encountered Jesus, that illusion shattered. I began to see that control isn't strength. Trust is. I don't need to have every answer, and I don't need to carry the weight of the future on my shoulders. I just need to be faithful with what's in front of me and trust God with the rest. My ambition used to be about proving something, to myself, to the world, maybe even to history. But ambition without purpose is just noise. Now ambition has given way to service. My work isn't about building monuments to my legacy. It's about building tools that make life better for people, that reflect something bigger than myself. And innovation, the thing that once consumed my every waking moment, has taken on a deeper meaning. It's no longer innovation for its own sake. It's innovation guided by love, driven by purpose, aimed at healing rather than just disrupting. I'll be honest, I've made mistakes. I chased progress while neglecting people. I pursued big visions while ignoring small acts of kindness. I tried to fix the world without first understanding the heart of the one who made it. But grace has a way of turning regret into redemption, and if I, someone who spent decades running at full speed in the wrong direction, can be transformed, then so can anyone. That's the beauty of this message. It's not reserved for the spiritual or the saintly. It's for every one of us. Engineers, teachers, dreamers, skeptics. Transformation is always possible. You just have to be willing to stop building your life alone and invite God into the blueprint. As I sit here finishing these thoughts, one thing is clear. This message isn't just for me. It's for all of us. The future of humanity isn't a distant abstraction. It's being shaped right now in every decision we make, every technology we design, every person we choose to love or ignore. Jesus' final words to me still echo in my mind. Build, create, explore, but do it with love at the center. That's the invitation. It's not about abandoning progress or rejecting innovation. It's about reimagining what those things are for. It's about using our gifts, our intelligence, creativity, resources, to serve rather than dominate, to heal rather than exploit, to connect rather than divide. The world doesn't need more billionaires or breakthroughs or bold ideas. It needs people who are willing to align those ideas with a higher purpose. It needs hearts anchored in love and minds guided by humility. And that starts with each of us. So I want to leave you with a challenge. Seek God. Ask Him to show you how your talents, your work, your dreams can be part of something bigger. Let Him shape your ambitions. Let Him guide your innovation. Let Him redefine what success means for you. Because when love is at the center, even the smallest act becomes world-changing. Even the most ordinary life becomes extraordinary. Before we end, I want to pray, not in a religious way, but as an invitation. If you're open to it, close your eyes and join me. God, thank you for loving us even when we try to build without you. Thank you for the minds you've given us, the tools we've created, the dreams that push us forward. Help us to use them wisely. Teach us to build with compassion, to innovate with humility, to explore with reverence. Show us how to love more deeply, serve more boldly, and live with purpose. Prepare us, not just for the future we imagine, but for the future you desire. In Jesus' name, amen. The story of humanity isn't finished yet. The pages ahead are blank, waiting to be written, and each of us holds a pen. Let's write a future worth living. One where love isn't an afterthought, but the foundation of everything we create. This story was intense, but my story on the right-hand side is even more insane.